Hi and welcome to another episode of Master Harvesters. I'm your host Evan Grimm. This week we're going to focus on anchor points to help you get tighter patterns during your archery practice. Alright, so I'm going to jump right into it. I'm using my Ben Pearson Recon compound, and I'm super pleased with this bow. I've been shooting it all summer. And you'll notice that I do not have a peep sight on my bow. The reason for that is I found that I can be extremely accurate just shooting with an anchor point type situation. And people will go back and forth on this. They'll say anchor points are important, but you need to have a peep sight. And as you just saw with my shooting, I can have a really tight pattern just using anchor points, and that was done with this bow. So I'm going to go through real quick what I like to do for my anchor points. Alright, for anchor point number one, I go ahead and draw my bow, and I get that arrow back, and I have a 31-inch draw length. I get that arrow all the way back, and the arrow is actually touching me right here, right above my lower lip, and that's my number one anchor point. Pull it back, get settled in. Anchor point number one, right there, right above my upper lip. Alright, so now anchor point number two. My first anchor point was pulling the bow back all the way and having that arrow right above my lower lip. Now, what I do is I pull it back, get that number one anchor point in place right above my lower lip, and then I pull the string across and I actually anchor it right here on the right side of my nose, and I can feel that string right there. Okay, bottom anchor point with the arrow right above my bottom lip and the string right along the right side of my nose. Bingo. So now I'm going to go through and do both at the same time. Anchor point number one, anchoring that arrow right above my lower lip. Anchor point number two, having that string right across my nose. Now we know what it takes to have the proper anchor points. Proper anchor points number one and number two. You can actually figure that out and fidget them a little bit to fit your bow and yourself. But consistency is the key, okay? Now for proper form. Proper form is key whenever you're going to do anchor point shooting. So I pull it back all the way and slide into my anchor points. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my left shoulder. I'm a right-handed shooter. Lower my left shoulder and then pull my shoulder blades together in my back. Keeping everything in line, slowly releasing the trigger. Pulling it back, finding your anchor points. Left shoulder down. I'm a right-handed shooter. It would be the opposite if you're shooting left. Keeping everything extended, pulling your two shoulder blades together and slowly pulling back on the trigger of your release. These tips also apply to bows that you're just going to be shooting with a peep sight. It's very important that you have good anchor points while you're shooting with the peep sight, or otherwise your shots will not be as accurate. But I am completely comfortable shooting without a peep sight. One of the things to remember, you got to practice it a lot. Use the same form and the same anchor points, and you can't go wrong. I feel very confident at the 40 yards. It all depends on your bow setup. Mine's a high-speed bow, so I feel comfortable shooting out to there at wildlife. So overall, I am very pleased with this technique. It's worked out well for me, and I hope it works out well for you. super pleased. This food plot, you can see how green it is. Everything is coming up. I was a little bit concerned about this actually, because what we actually have is quite a bit of moss that I planted over. I weed whacked it short and planted over it, and it actually worked out to be a good thing, because what the moss did is the moss held the moisture down where the seeds are, and this right behind me is at least a week ahead of everything that I've seen so far. I am so pleased. This is already a great hunting spot, and with this food plot coming up the way that it is, next month with archery season, it's gonna be hot. I'm just super excited to see how well these food plots have done without the rain, and now that we're getting the rain, it's just gonna get a ton better. I'm super pleased. Thank you, Lord, for the rain, though. I was getting concerned that we weren't gonna get any rain, and that would have just really ruined everything. It was supposed to rain right after I planted it, and that's why I planted, and it never came. But the rain is here. Thank the Lord for that. And let's find some deer. Well, I hope that my tips helped you to some extent. They've helped me a lot throughout the years with my archery, and it's just good practice anyhow. That's all that I've got for this week. We are seeing some pretty nice deer, so I'm excited about that. Soon we'll be in the tree stand. It's coming really, really soon. But until that time, remember to thank God for the blessings that He gives us, and also to spend time in His Word. This is Evan Grimm from Master Harvesters. Hoping you have a great week, and hoping we'll see you again.